The St. Louis Blues dropped tonight's contest by a final score of 5-3, not able to build off of that electric win from Thursday night against from Thursday night against the Florida Panthers. And well, it feels like you're kind of back to point number one, where you're trying trying to figure out what exactly is going on, what exactly has gone wrong with this team. Once again, it's something we've been talking about quite literally since opening night of the season, and it continues as we near the Olympic break. I'm Ethan Hannaford, he's Mike Meyer, and this is the Blue Central postgame show on STL Sports Central, where all of the content here on STL Sports Central is presented to you by DraftKings. And at DraftKings, the crown is always yours. Like I said, I'm joined by Mike Meyer tonight on the Blue Central postgame show. And as we kind of just dive in here, Mike, how do you begin to digest tonight's game and what you saw?
I thought overall, I didn't overly hate their game here tonight. The Blues, as shown here in the third period, they completely emptied the tank, dominated the third period, and still unfortunately found a way to be able to lose because, bottom line, in my opinion, the only healthy part of their roster, the defense, keeps making the biggest mistakes. The kids showed up. The captain showed up. Berggren showed up. He's got 3 points in his last 2 games. Unfortunately, the blue line didn't. This has just been the telltale here of this season here so far. It's a heartbreaking loss because you saw a lot of the effort. You saw some good things here come together. The Blues just couldn't get out of their own way. I think you're muted here, Ethan.
Good call. Thank you for that.
There you go.
Felt like the momentum in this one early for St. Louis was on their side. It only took a handful of minutes for Jimmy Snuggerud to get the Blues on the board. And once again, we see that Schenn, Snuggerud, Dvorsky line really working out, where you have a nice mix of Braden Schenn, who's been playing well as of late, perhaps adding a little bit to his trade deadline value, as well as you have really the heartbeat of the future of this team, and Jimmy Snuggerud and Dalibor Dvorsky also continuing to step up. So even with these losses, I know there's fans in here that are just praying to tank for another Stenberg brother, which I have to understand. But simultaneously, you are getting production from some of these young guys, even in these losses. So it's not to say that it's excusable, right? But if you are one of those people that is, already looking towards next year, already looking towards the NHL draft and the best possible position the Blues could end up getting, then nights like this, once again, where you continue to see production from the young guys that are going to be gauging some interest at the trade deadline, but you still fall. I mean, that's a pretty good recipe if you're thinking about this more in a long-term perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if you are seeing some production here again from a Jonathan Berggren, which, I love to be able to see because I don't know how much that he's going to be a part here of this future, but he's increasing the stock value. If and when that the Blues were decided to move him at the trade deadline, you're seeing the production here from a Braden Schenn, but like you alluded here to, you're seeing production here from Philip Broberg. You're seeing production here from Dvorsky, from Snuggerud. You're getting, he could be part of the future here in Pius Suter. Don't know here just as of yet what the move's going to be here with him, but he could be a really solid addition here to this lineup moving forward here for at least the next couple of years. But you're seeing the future really unfold, and you're seeing the effort here on a nightly basis. And now, not to mention that you're just getting the effort, but you're also seeing the point production here come from in here as well. And I think that's absolutely everything that you want to be able to see here, bottom line, night in, night out here from these guys.
This is not the first game of this homestand in which the Blues have put up some serious goal production now. In fact, that has not been the problem. The problem is that the defense, the goaltending, just has not been good enough. And it kind of feels like that's been a similar message throughout a good portion of the season. What continues to go wrong night in and night out, it feels like, for this defensive core?
I think it's not, to me, it's not a matter of effort. I think it's purely just execution. The roster depletion just shows up here every single night here within the puck battles. You're seeing good execution here for the most part from your veterans here in like a Justin Falk, which again, trade piece. So, that never hurts here as well. Colton Parayko had a rare night where he didn't look overly sharp. I mean, this is a guy who's played a lot of minutes, and it may just be kind of catching up here to him here as of right now. But again, you're seeing the production here coming from the younger guys. Logan Mayu looked here really good, but it just seems like it's the mental lapses, and that's where I think a lot of people are questioning whether or not that Mike Weber, who's in charge here of the defense here right now, if he's going to be part of the solution here moving forward as well. But he can also only do what he can do with what he's given. But we also saw a really good sign here and a lot of good production from them last season. And outside of Logan Mayu, this defense hasn't changed. And we're sitting here January 31st. Tomorrow's February. And we're talking about how this defense has not changed year over year, and yet there's still issues. There's still it's just mind-boggling on how much of a difference that it is year over year here from this team. And again, I don't think it's a matter of effort. I think it's purely a matter of I don't understand truly what's going on, because I think if everybody understood like what was going on, boom, it's an easy fix. But I think even the coaching staff is left scratching their heads trying to figure out what is going on with this team.
Attached with the defensive struggles, Jordan Binnington, you look at his performance tonight, continues to be struggles. Such a unique spot for a guy that we obviously know the success that he has had in the past. We know that he has had stretches of time also where he doesn't look very impressive, but then at some point in the big moment, it always turns around. We saw that last year with how he was post Olympic break, but it just doesn't feel like this is the same Jordan Binnington that we're watching these days. Just a couple of goals tonight that did not look sharp. I know I'm asking you to provide answers that it feels like we should at this point have answers for, but how do you begin to navigate where the Blues are at with Jordan Binnington right now?
Boy, that's a wonderful, wonderful question here with them, because as of right now, it almost seems like age is catching up to him more than what he likes to be able to admit. But on the flip side here to this, it definitely seems like that the defense is also not playing as strong in front of him. And so whether or not that they're just having, unfortunately, the poor nights that they're playing, and they just so happen to be in front of Jordan Binnington, whether he prefers the Blues to be able to play a certain style in front of him versus Hofer playing, I don't know what it is here at this point, but there's either something that's going on here with a miscommunication that they're boiling down. Yep, I'm seeing the Binnington's washed up. He sucks here now. Listen, I get it, and I'm right there with you that I hate the defense excuse here with Bennington. I get it. But again, if you look here at the tape here as well, the defense has made some really, really bad mistakes in front of him that I don't know which goaltender here in the entire NHL is going to be able to make some of these saves. The point that I do want to be able to hone in on here is Jordan Binnington has not made Jordan Binnington saves. And that is the key difference of what we have seen here in the past is, statistically speaking, he has been very, very down. And it seems like the statistics are finally catching up to Jordan Binnington, because he was still making those saves, the ones that you rub your eyes at and like, how in the world did he make that save? Finally, he's not really making these saves. And at this point in time, Jordan Bennington's stats, again, they're catching up here with him. And I don't know if he's got the wherewithal. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up here at this point in time in order to be able to pad those stats here anymore.
He's Mike Meyer. I'm Ethan Hannaford. This is the Blues Central post-game show on STL Sports Central, and our content here on STL Sports Central is brought to you, specifically with the Blues Central post-game show, is brought to you by our business banking partners at Home Bank, and they will be presenting the money moment of the game here in just a few minutes. But let us tell you about Home Bank first. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us since day one as a trusted partner. Business is about more than just the numbers. It's about the relationships. And with Home Bank, those relationships can make all of the difference. Home Bank is the team behind our team here at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Home Bank, member FDIC, More than a bank, they're your business partner. That money moment of the game will be coming up here in just a few minutes. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the lineup construction tonight. No Robert Thomas tonight. And they announced that he had a minor procedure. I'll let you share a little bit about that here in just a second, but expected to have him back after the Olympic break. So he'll be out these next couple of games. There was no Jake Neighbors tonight, obviously. No Neighbors. There certainly is a difference in the way in which this team, the physicality, I guess you could say, they play with, the net front presence when Jake Neighbors is not out there. Pius Suter did return tonight. Would love to kind of take this a couple of pieces at a time. First off, talking about what Pius Suter being back can add to this lineup, and then as well, what kind of impact does it have when Jake Neighbors is not in the lineup?
Well, I think here, starting with Neighbors, is that you're missing that net front presence. You're missing from the lineup that bit of grit and sandpaper that he seems to bring here on a nightly basis. Whether he's getting the hits logged, whether he's getting the block shots, whatever that it is, it seems like Jake Neighbors is absolutely a St. Louis Blue here through and through. Just bring his lunch pail and his work boots to the ice here just every single game. And I think that's something that the Blues fans love to be able to see. I think that's what the guys on the bench, the guys here on the ice, that they love to be able to see a guy who is willing to go to work night in and night out, shift in and shift out every single game. And that's just something that you just don't see here a whole heck of a lot, at least in the physicality sense here from this team. But however, whenever it comes here to Pius Suter, he adds a different element here as well, because you get the natural center who's able to line in. You don't necessarily have to worry and rely here on a Pavel Buchnevich, who has looked pretty decent, in my opinion, here at center, at least just for a little bit of time frame. It seems like he's reading the ice here really well, creating time and chances here for his line mates. It's obviously not a long-term fix, but having an option that you can slide Pius Suter or Pavel Buchnevich in at that center line position, I think that helps just add that extra bit of flexibility. But then again, you also add a whole other element here in the penalty kill here and the power play. So having just that extra bit of veteran presence, especially a guy who's more than capable of putting up a 20 goal spot here over the course of the season, is never a bad thing here either.
The Blues trailed 2-1 after one period of play, and while they still trailed following the conclusion of the second period, it was back and forth. Very exciting first two periods of hockey. It certainly slowed down in the third from a goal production standpoint. Shots were even in that second period. The Blues favored on both the faceoff circle and on the physical side as well, out hitting the Blue Jackets 18-12, but they also did have more turnovers. What did you take from the back and forth, high-powered offensive style that we saw in the first two periods and the quick switch as the game concluded in the final third?
I think, to me, this is where you saw the true difference in lineup construction. You saw the true difference here in the talent here on the different rosters. Zach Werenski here is obviously always just, a man possessed. This is a guy who has, if you were to put him on the Blues roster, he's immediately your top scorer. He is your top point producer. He's your top in everything here at this time. And how this guy has not, I believe, won a Norris Trophy here is still beyond me. But again, you just see a difference here in a potential playoff caliber team against a team who is still struggling to be able to find an identity. Columbus knows who they are. They are willing to go to battle here for one another. And that's not to say that the Blues weren't going to battle here for one another, because these guys were putting up the points. They weren't just giving up here on the plays, but Columbus knew exactly what happened. They saw, a goal go here into their own net, and they were looking at each other here a couple different times I saw, and they said, okay, we're going, and they didn't give up. And they said, next shift that they're putting up a shot and they're getting a goal. And it seemed like that it was ready to say, hey, I'm getting the next goal. No, I'm getting the next goal, and they're going to be the ones who tie it up. We're going to be able to take the lead. This was not a team who gives up a goal, and all of a sudden you look at their bench and they've got their head slouched, and you see the poor body postures. At this point in time, again, you're just seeing a team, in my opinion, who just was hungrier here, just bottom line.
He's Mike Meyer. I'm Ethan Hannaford. This is the Blues Central post-game show, and we are presented to you by DraftKings, where the crown is yours and the biggest. Listen, it needs no introduction. The biggest sporting event, American sporting event of the year, is coming up in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tomorrow. The Super Bowl 60, is just weeks away. The Seattle Seahawks, the New England Patriots. It is going to be a fun one. There's no doubt about that. And with an event as big as the Super Bowl, it deserves a sports book that is built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, puts you right in the center of the biggest game of the year. And this, you guys know how it goes at this point. Anything can happen in these kinds of games, which is why it's perfect when you are putting your money down with DraftKings that you can trust that they have your back. And they do with the early exit. So take a big breath, knowing that is there. If a player goes down in the first half, you can still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. So we know about the amount of talent that there's going to be in this game. You have an epic story of Sam Darnold and the run that he is on his way potentially to a comeback player of the year and a chance to lead his team to a Super Bowl. The Seahawks now announcing that they're going to be selling following the Super Bowl, kind of an interesting little tidbit in the mix as well. And then you have Drake May. For all my people that love Drake May and understand all the jokes going around about him on X. This guy it feels like can do no wrong. So we have two powerhouses going up against one another. A Super Bowl rematch from what is it now? Over 10 years ago. If it's anywhere near as good as the first one was, then this is going to be a very fun game. So looking forward to Super Bowl 60 here in just a couple of weeks. DraftKings, it is the place to be. It's the place to put down all of your bets, whether big or small. DraftKings is the spot to be. And here's the best part. If you are new to DraftKings, new customers can get $5 when they bet $5, can get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Mike Meyer, Ethan Hannaford, Blues Central postgame. Let's go ahead and let's jump into our money moment of the game, which is brought to you by Home Bank, the team behind our team here at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Mike Meyer, your money moment of the game.
I'm looking here. I think it was, man, I loved the Jimmy Snuggerud goal. I really did. But I think it was the power play goal here from Berggren to be able to give the Blues some additional life, tie up the game here in the second period. Berggren's been getting hot here a little bit here again over the last couple of games. I'd love to be able to see this. He's going to be a streaky player. I know that he is. And Blues love themselves some streaky players, but I think it was his goal that set the tone and the pace here for the second period and was just making this a dogfight here throughout the entire middle frame here of this game. But I have to be able to go here with his goal and just be able to continue just riding his streak here into the next game.
Ace Rob says his money moment is Binnington not stopping a beach ball. You think the Blues fans are tired of this? You think that they are over this? I think that they are. Let me ask you this. We have 2 games remaining until the conclusion of, it's not the first half, but you understand, until the Olympic break. And then these guys are going to get a breather for a while. Some of them will. Many Blues will be heading off to the Winter Olympics to compete for their countries. Is there anything that can happen, I guess, that would give you belief that this team could still make a miraculous
No,
turn, could do anything.
before you even fully finish that sentence, no. As poor as what this Western Conference here has looked like, I think that the Blues have too many things here like in their own head in order to be able to fix anything. And even if they did start doing anything, Armstrong has made it abundantly clear he knows what this team here is. He has seen the mistakes here come from this team, and I don't think he's going to be fooled again, because last season was fool's gold. It just truly was. I love the run. It was absolutely incredible, but I don't think that Doug Armstrong and by extension Alexander Steen is going to be is going to be taking anything and saying this is exactly who that we need to continue to invest here into. It's not going to happen. It's not. These guys have been working the phones here a lot. They've been fielding a lot of phone calls, and I think that you're still going to be able to see several different big moves made here from this team that's going to start stripping away a lot of the veterans and moving into this new era here of Blues hockey.
I think this might be an interesting question for you, brought in from the chat, asking if you had to choose a goalie from the NHL to swap from Binnington, or even from the NHL, who would you pick, and who do you think? How do you think they would change the roster? So obviously you could pick quite literally any goalie, but let's try and keep this a little bit realistic. And let's imagine that there's a world in which Jordan Binnington is no longer on this roster. Joel Hofer probably being the number one, unless something crazy were to happen.
Yeah.
You know this AHL system. You know this Thunderbirds team well. What direction would you like to see them go in right now with a backup goalie or a 1B, if let's say they were to move on from a Jordan Binnington, or just to imagine maybe in the offseason something happens, he's no longer here?
If they were to move on from a Jordan Binnington, I don't feel comfortable in Zarenko here just yet. Georgi Romanov has played really well. Statistically speaking, he did not play overly well when it came to the San Jose Sharks, but that was the San Jose Sharks who were in a rebuild, who were doing a number of things in order to fix that organization. So maybe he comes up to the NHL and plays a little bit stronger. Zarenko has looked very, very strong here because these guys are letting up here on average, at least until Steve Ott came. At least until Ott came, these guys were averaging here about 35 plus shots on goal here a night. And Zarenko at times was letting up 4 or 5 goals here at that point. But there was now times where he saw, I think close to 50 shots here one night and let up maybe 2 goals. So these are AHL type shots. It is a bit more chaotic down in the AHL. And so maybe Zarenko plays a little bit better, but I still don't really like bringing anybody up here from the AHL. So I think if in the event that Binnington were to leave this organization, I believe that you would be looking to have a trade made to have somebody come in who's just like on an expiring contract here at this point in time. Who that is, I couldn't even remotely tell you. I don't know which goaltender would be available here at this point, but I wouldn't look for it to be anything substantial.
He's Mike Meyer. I'm Ethan Hannaford. This is the Blues Central post-game show. We are presented to you by Drink Thunder, the all-natural pre-workout that hits different. Plant-based, fruit-powered, zero sugar, sweetened naturally with monk fruit. Each serving is packed with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. It ignites your energy, and it allows you to push your performance to the next level, which everyone wants to do. Choose your flavor. They got 3 flavors: orange mango, blackberry lemonade, or strawberry cream, and it allows you to feel the rush the natural way. You can order now at drinkthunder.com. Drink Thunder, pure power, no crash, all natural. The Blues have 2 games remaining, Mike, before they get, 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks?
A few weeks, yeah.
Maybe even a little bit longer than that to rest up as they get ready to take on the rest of the year. They got Nashville on Monday night and then Dallas on Wednesday night. And then they are off until February 26th, where they'll be back at home against the Seattle Kraken. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and wrap tonight?
I might have to go to the game against the Seattle Kraken, celebrate the birthday a day early, but we might have to be able to make my way out.
Yeah.
Prize here for that one. So It's going to be tough here against, Nashville's hitting a little bit of a skid here right now. They're a 500 team, 500 here in their last 10. So, I'm not overly worried here about that, but we've seen Steven Stamkos, we've seen Ryan O'Reilly, we've seen these guys here go up against St. Louis, and it's just not pretty. Dallas here again, they're third here in the Central, 31-14-9. Again, they're also a team who's hitting about a 500 streak here in their last 10. So we're hitting two teams who are not doing too bad here at this point in time. But I know most Blues fans are not going to be wanting to see the W here over these game results. They're wanting to be able to see the big O red L at that point, because that's going to significantly improve their chances here at the number 1 overall draft pick.
I think that everyone can agree with Samuel when we say, go Slew.
Go Slew.
Roll Pelicans, baby. Roll Pelicans. He is Mike Meyer. I'm Ethan Hannaford. This has been the Blues Central post-game show on STL Sports Central. Despite the frustration, despite the constant losing from this team, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate you sharing your thoughts, your opinions, your comments in the chat. And we do not take you guys for granted. And we look forward to being with you next week. And then we'll have the hiatus, and then hopefully, there's something of a little more substance to talk about by that point. What will be interesting is we will not be very far removed from the trade deadline at that point. So there certainly will be plenty of topics to discuss once we return from the Olympic break. We appreciate you all. You all have a wonderful evening, and we will see you on Monday night.